Bohr's model of an atom. Bohr's model was proposed by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr was born in Copenhagen on 7 October 1885. He was appointed Professor of Physics at Copenhagen University in 1916. He got the Nobel Prize for his work on the structure of an atom in 1922. In order to overcome the objection raised against Rutherford's model of the atom, Niels Bohr put forward the following postulates about the model of an atom. Only certain special orbits, known as discrete orbits of electrons, are allowed inside the atom. While revolving in discrete orbits, the electrons do not radiate energy. These orbits or shells are called energy levels. These orbits or shells are represented by the letters K, L, M, N, or the numbers N is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll discuss about distribution of electrons in different orbit of an atom. Bohr suggested 3 rules. So we'll point out those 3 rules here. Rule number 1. He said the number of electrons in an orbit will follow this 2n square. So in that case, in case of first orbit, n equals to 1, that means the K cell. The number of electrons will be 2n square, that is 2. In case of second orbit, that is the L cell, the number of electrons will be in case of third orbit, that is the M cell, the number of electrons will be likewise. We can calculate the number of electrons in the orbits n equals to 4, 5 or 6 and so on. So the number of electrons in different orbits are different. But rule number 2 says the maximum number of electrons in the last orbit, the outermost orbit, is 8. Rule number 3 says electrons can be accommodated in any given cell only when the previous orbit is completely filled. So in order to fill any orbit, in order to accommodate electron in any orbit, the previous orbit should be filled completely. Now we'll see how the electrons are distributed in different elements. We'll take first hydrogen atom. In hydrogen atom, the number of electrons is 1 only. So because the first orbit, the first cell, that is K cell, can accommodate maximum 2 electrons, here the electron of hydrogen atom will be accommodated in the K cell only. So the number of electrons in K cell will be 1 and there will be no other cell in hydrogen atom. So the atomic structure of hydrogen atom will be like this. In the center there will be nucleus and 1 electron will be there in K cell or n equals to 1 orbit. Now we take helium atom. In case of helium, the number of electrons is 2, and as we know, the K cell can accommodate 2 electrons. So the electrons will be accommodated in the K cell itself. And if we draw the atomic structure of helium, it will look like this. At the center there will be nucleus and 2 electrons will be accommodated in the K cell. And K cell will be filled completely and there will be no other cells. Now we take chlorine atom. There are 17 electrons in chlorine atom. So the first 2 electrons will be accommodated in K cell because K cell can accommodate maximum 2 electrons, and 8 electrons will be accommodated in L cell because the L cell can accommodate maximum of 8 electrons as per the formula 2n square. where k is n equals to 1 and L is n equals to 2. So the next cell can accommodate 7 electrons, that is the n cell, which is n equals to 3. N equals to 3 can accommodate maximum of 18 electrons as per the formula 2n square. And so chlorine, the 7 electrons, the last 7 electrons can be accommodated in the M cell. So now if we draw the atomic structure of chlorine, it will look like this. At the center there is a nucleus and the first orbit, that is K cell, which will accommodate 2 electrons, and the next orbit, that is L cell, which will accommodate 8 electrons, and the last orbit, that is the M cell, will accommodate 7 electrons. Now we take the example of sodium atom. Sodium has total 11 electrons. So the first 2 electrons will go to K cell, that is n equals to 1 orbit. Next 8 electrons will go to L cell, that is n equals to 2 orbit. And the rest 1 electron will go to M cell, that is n equals to 3 orbit. So if we draw the atomic structure of sodium, it will look like this. At the center there is nucleus, then the first 2 electrons will be distributed in K cell. 8 electrons will be accommodated in the L cell, and 1 electron will be there in the M cell.